In the last video, we covered what I carry in my great big day hiking pack. In this video, we're going to go through in more detail the two first aid kits that I carry in this bag. I have a level 1 and a level 2 first aid kit. So we're going to go through that in more detail. And then we're going to go through an exercise of downsizing this pack, the things that are in this pack, into a smaller pack for a less technical, shorter hike. And then we're going to do that again for an even less technical, even shorter, simpler hike. And finally, we're going to cover what do you do when you get home from the hike. What you do at the end of the hike or after your hike is just as important as what you do before your hike, because it sets up the tone for the very next hike that you're going to go on and make sure that you're constantly improving and becoming a better hiker. So let's go through my two first aid kits. Again, clear container. I pack these strategically so that I can see all the way, like when I spin it, I can see a good striation of what is in there. Everything's not, it's pretty loaded up there, but I can look and go, oh, there's that thing I need, and get into it easily. So there is a lot of stuff in here. Open it up, start pulling stuff out. Right here on top, I have a little tin of Prid drying salve. This is fantastic. This stuff works so well for if you've got a bite or if you've got a sliver, if you've got something that's swelling up. It's got some anti-itch properties, but this stuff is just, it's a great thing to smear it on a wound and start pulling out whatever poisons or irritants are in there. So it's a nice little convenient tube, easy to pack, easy to have. I have a little pill container of Ibuprofen, anti-inflammatories, good for hiking, good for lots of reasons. But then I have a little tape, medical tape, just a tube of it, just a small tube of it. But you could take this and just wrap a little bit of it, but I like to have the whole thing so I don't have to refresh it. I have a couple of these little finger bandages things for if you get a wound on, these are challenging, your digits are challenging to pack, to put Band-Aids on and the like. So a couple of little finger things. You can also use them on your toes if you need to. I have some ampules for eye rewetting drops for clearing something out of your eye, and I have something more important, bigger than that in here, so we'll talk about that in a second. This is just single-use things. There's some cotton swabs for lots of different reasons, applications. I have some liquid skin. You could use just the single-use super glues for closing up a wound. Medical professionals will tell you not to do that. This is the real thing, so that's why I have that, but they're a little expensive. Do what you can. Some more Vaseline, lots of uses for Vaseline in wound care, and first aid stuff. I have a little tick remover tool. Everybody's in tick country now. Ticks can do a lot of damage, so you want to pay attention to that and get rid of them as soon as possible. Learn how to use those, because you can do some damage if you do it wrong. I have a little pill container here that has some triple antibiotic ointment, single use, some burn gel, and then here on the back I have some hydrocolloidal patches this is for blister care, burns, hot spots. I have another panty liner, but it can also be used as a gauze in a pinch. I have another pill container here that has a doggy bag in it, because I have doggy bags everywhere, and safety pins for blister care and attaching things. And then I have some spot Band-Aids, some circle Band-Aids in there. Some more Bug X. Remember this kit goes from kit to kit to kit, so I don't necessarily have my admin bag, and so I might not have bug repellent. Also have a little thing of aloe for burns. And I have some more wet wipes, single-use wet wipes. I have some moleskin. Not a big moleskin fan, actually, but it's a hiking kit, so yeah, moleskin. I would give it a go if I was getting a hot spot. Moleskin. Not a fan, though. I have a couple of bigger Bandaids for a larger area. Then I just have a bunch of regular sized Bandaids. It's a 3x3 gauze, large one. These are pimple patches, but they also work like the drying salve. But it's an adhesive drying salve. So if you get a bite, something that's irritating you, this can draw from that wound. Add a little bit of Bleedstop for a more serious clotting bleed that you can't, that you're struggling with. Direct pressure isn't really calming it down. That's what that's for. I have a pair of nitrile gloves in here and some 2x2 gauze squares and then some cotton rounds. This is not sterile. If sterile is important to you, you can buy these individually wrapped, but most of the time I find that this is fine. Just keep it clean. All right, so this works in conjunction with that water bottle that I have. This is a fan. I'm menopausal, so temperatures, nice. Feels good. Nice and compact, doesn't require any batteries or anything to use. So this in conjunction with a little bit of water can really help. You know, once you get heat exhaustion or heat stroke, you're far more susceptible to heat emergencies after that. So good to know about yourself. I actually did that. I got some heat stroke when I was redoing the landscaping in my gardening, and ever since then I've been much more sensitive to such things. So that is an important thing for me to have. A couple of cable ties, zip ties, they're great for attaching things. I have an N95 mask. I have an OB tampon. This is actually for wound packing if I ran into someone who needed it, I don't need it. But this can be for bleed stops. So pack it into a deep wound or something that's bleeding. I have some dental floss. Dental floss is super strong and can be used for binding and hanging things and not just for picking something annoying out of your teeth, although that might save somebody else's life. Just kidding. I have some pointy, long-handled tweezers for getting at stickers, stingers, cacti, and I also have another pair of those. These ones are more of a flat edge for a little bit better purchase, so those are more strategic, and these are more blunt. But they're also super small and convenient. This is non-aspirin pain reliever in a single use. I have some hydrocortisone packets in here, some alcohol towelettes, some iodine towelettes, and some sting kill. Not sting kill. I have sting kill in here. I have sting kill ampules. This is just a sting relief pad. So these ones are more for bees. These are for all kinds of different kinds of stinging animals. I have some butterfly bandages, Steri-Strips. They're not the brand Steri-Strip, but butterfly bandages. These are anti-diarrheals, because that's a bad thing to have to deal with on the trail, and those are super fast acting, so you can shut that down. Same with gas relief pills. I have some daytime cold pills, and then these are anti-nausea pills. All that was in there. It's pretty impressive, huh? Okay, I'm gonna just cute. because we're going to go through this one. So this is level 2 stuff. So like I said, this is beyond just the basic wound care stuff. This is more bleedy type things. Important things to have, important things to know how to use, because a lot of things in here, you can do some damage if you don't know what you're doing, particularly with the tourniquet. Anyway, so I've got another roll of the Coban gauze in here, or bandages, elastic bandages, and I have some rolled gauze. I have some waterproof medical tape, another glove, I don't know why, single glove. I have some shears, medical shears for cutting away some clothing. If you need to expose a wound to work on it, you can cut away the clothing. I have a compressed bandage in here, compressed gauze for packing into a wound, a bleed. I have some more Bleedstop in here, the clotting powder for working on trying to get something to stop bleeding. And then this is the thing I was talking about, a tourniquet. So this is the thing. You need to learn how to use it before you use it, because someone can lose a limb if you do this wrong, and you don't want to do that. But this can be a life-saving thing, especially if you're doing more backcountry, high up, far away from medical care, wound care. This can be an important tool, but get some training. Get some training on how to use that. And also, I probably shouldn't have it packed away like this. I probably should put this in my brain. I think I'm going to put that in my brain, because you only have minutes to use it, and you don't want to be hunting for it. I do have the instructions in here. Know before you go. I'm keeping them together mostly for other people's benefits, but yeah, know before you go. And then I have a first aid manual. This is actually a pretty good first aid manual. It's got a lot of good information in it, not just fluff information. It's got some pictures in it. This is a good manual. There's lots of different options on the market. They're kind of expensive for what you get, actually. It's a little bit ridiculous. But look to get a good one. And I don't even know if this one's still available, but I'll link one. I'll find some good ones for you. But yeah, it's nice to have a good first aid reference. Remember, even if you're trained, if someone comes upon you and you're not able to communicate with them, it would be nice for them to be able to read up and be able to help you. And also, your brain gets scrambled when you're having emergencies. Sometimes your brain isn't working correctly, and it's nice to have something to reference. Anyway, and then I have in here, this is a little eye wash kit. So these are silicone eye containers. They can go on either eye. And basically, if you get something in your eye, you don't want to be rubbing your eye. You put this is a travel saline solution. You can get individual use saline solutions. They're just kind of expensive, and these travel ones are super cheap. Plus I wear contacts, so I have these everywhere. So you put a little bit of that in there and rinse your eye out. Don't be rubbing your eye, and that can actually save your vision. You don't want to get something caught in there that gets an infection and causes problems. Also, you can use this if, let's say, you get something impaled in your eye. You can put this over your eye and use it to immobilize and wrap both of your eyes, because your eyes don't move independently, and just to protect your eye if you don't want to be pulling something out of your eyes, something more serious. That can be really helpful. So again, level 2 stuff in there. I also have some honey in here, but this is more for wound care stuff, for putting on a wound too. Antimicrobial, antibacterial. Honey's good. Honey's good stuff. Okay, that is my kit. Okay, I'm going to pack this away, and then we're going to go through, that was my serious kit. Now we're going to go through what I would put in 2 different stages of less serious hikes. Shorter hikes, out and back type things. You don't need all of this for that. So now we're going to talk about how I would downsize this for a different type of hike. So I'm not going to take my big, heavy framed item, probably. I mean, I could just pack less stuff in there. But let's say I want to have something that's a little less serious, like this. This is like a school bag backpack. It doesn't have a frame. It's super, super lightweight. So this would be a good option. And I also have, this is kind of a fun little thing. This is a packable, so you could just keep this in your car, but it's a little packable sling bag type backpack, day hike backpack. So I'm going to do that one in a second. I'm going to set that aside. Let's pretend that this is the one that we're going to take with us. And we're going to go on, say, 1 to 3 mile hike. Just a quick little hike. Now, I could take my water bottle still. Maybe I would take it without the tube. This does have water bottle pockets, and it does fit in there. So I could still do that. That's probably a good option for this thing without the tube. For water. Water's the first thing. You're always going to carry water. Even if you're just going for a walk in your neighborhood, just take a water bottle. Just a little water bottle. Or take your regular hydration bottle. Speaking of which, take a sip. Have some water. All right. What would I put in here? Well, I would probably take my first aid kit. Just throw my first aid kit in there. Remember, that kit goes from bag to bag to bag. So that covers a lot of bases right there. I probably would not take my compress and my hot hands. I probably don't need that. Also, my SAM splint, probably don't need that. I'll probably throw my hoodie jacket in there. Or if you're really super worried about the space, probably the rain jacket would be a better option, and probably take it out of this little thing, but I'm going to do the down jacket. All right? I probably don't need a map for that small of a hike. Not going to do that. I'm not going to take my compass. Whatever. I might throw this in. So if I don't have an emergency blanket, probably throw something like this in, or maybe just an emergency blanket. And probably a poncho. Throw a poncho in there. I'm not going to need cordage. I'm probably not going to take that. I'm probably not going to take my level 2 first aid kit either. I don't need to. Now, in my electronics bag, I could just throw my headlamp in and make sure that I have my device, everything charged up before I go, so I don't have to take my power bank. This whole thing. Other than that, probably not. Probably not. But headlight, let's just do that. Have a backup light. And I'm going to take my keys. Where are my keys? I'll have my keys with me. So remember, that's got my other light on it. So I'm going to have my light, and I'm going to have a little pocket knife and some other things in there. So my keys are going to go in there. Probably not going to take these things. Don't need, oh, maybe one. Just one. Security. Probably take my binoculars, just depending on what I'm going to see. I have room for my knee brace, which I would probably be wearing, to be honest with you. For my poop kit, I probably don't need my whole poop kit, but I may just take my doggy bag and maybe a little bit of toilet paper. And I have wet wipes in my first aid kit, so I probably don't even need that. So probably I'm just going to take these 2 things. Okay? What do I need in my admin bag? I might take my bug net, but to be honest, probably not. Probably just leave that here. This is an out and back hike. I don't need all of that stuff. So I do still need my readers because I can't see, and tissues, lip care, and antibacterial. Not a bad idea. Okay. I'm probably not going to take my sit pad just for bulk. Don't really need that. What do I need in my water and food kit? Probably would just have a snack. Honestly, I probably would take my granola bar and some trail mix, and that's what I would take. I might throw in just a life straw. These are the kind that you can just suck right out of the stream. Maybe, depends on where I'm going, but that would be a good lightweight option to throw in a lightweight pack like this. What else would I put in here? I'm probably not going to take my trekking poles, and honestly, I probably would not take my full-on tripod. I'd probably just take a selfie stick or just have my phone around my neck. So I probably wouldn't take that. I think that's it. That's what I would take. So this is super lightweight, you know, and this is just a quick out and back. In fact, this bag is probably a little bit big for that, but this would be perfectly adequate for a small, more structured hike on a well-traveled trail. This is it. That'd be what I'm taking. Now, if I were doing just an even smaller hike, not a serious hike, just an easy out and back 1-ish mile hike. So I would probably take something just like this, something small. Now, like I said, you're always going to have water, so you could do just these small. These are too small for my regular water bottles, but they fit these kind of water bottles just perfectly well. And you can do 2 of them to give you some balance, but that's perfectly doable. Okay. This bag is actually amazing. It has pockets everywhere. There's pocket here, zipper pocket there, pockets inside, pockets everywhere. This is actually really functional. I'd probably throw my keys here in the front just as quick access, and then also this is a quick access thing. So probably my tissues, my eyeglasses, and maybe my antibacterial in there, and my lip stuff. Where's my lip stuff? Lip stuff. Okay, they're in the front. Zip it in. And then for the belly, now I have my, giant first aid kit that will fit in here, but that's probably super overkill. What I have done is I've put together just a much smaller little kit that has the most basic stuff in it. It has some wet wipes, it has some basic Bandaids in it, a little bit of hydrocolloidal for blister care, some antibiotic ointment, and a pad, super basic. This is an Ubu kit. It's just for minor scrapes, okay? So that's probably what I would throw in instead of the scraping thing. I also have made up a little mini Bic lighter with some more fire plugs. I could throw that in this bag or this bag. Just, why not? So I want to have my snacks. So I'm going to put my snacks in there. I don't know where the other one went. There it is. Snacks. All right, so what else? Probably not. Don't need an emergency blanket in such a small case. I probably still want a little toilet paper. You never know. I do have wet wipes, so I don't need to get wet wipes. I always have wet wipes. Probably not going to need this, so I'm not going to take that. I don't know. I don't know if I need water. It doesn't have any weight. It doesn't take up any space, so take it or leave it. I'm still going to do my doggy bags because it's me and doggy bags. You find garbage on the trail, you can haul it out like that. Yes, because you can still get caught out on a trail. So I'm still going to have a headlamp to keep my hands free, and also a bandage because it's lightweight, low profile. Probably not going to take my binoculars. Why? I could wear them, I suppose. And then no, there's not room for that in here. Now, however, because I'm in the market for a small, very packable rain jacket, I could put that in here and probably would put that in there. But in lieu of that, I do have a little rain poncho. The other thing that I have is this little, it's a picnic blanket, fold out picnic blanket, waterproof. It's not super big, but you know, if you've got a group of people, you might be able to, you might throw that in there, and it's nice and compact. It's up to you. You determine what weight you want to carry. But that is like a super basic but very well prepared bag. Now, if you have a pet, don't forget to bring your pet stuff. You know, collapsible bowls. Don't ever forget to bring enough water for your pet. Water is really heavy, so it can be cumbersome and awkward to carry, but it's so important. Water is the first most important thing that you should have. Also, some things that you can have. Hiking booties are great for dogs when they're out and about. And then make sure that you know the leash laws. Around here especially, there's a lot of areas where you can't take dogs because it's a watershed area. When I get back from a hike, I go through my pack and I take out any of the garbage. I replenish any of the things that I've used in there that are single-use items, and I evaluate how did it go? Is there anything in there that I really don't need to carry anymore? Is there anything that caused me trouble? Is there anything that needs to be repaired? Just going through and doing that assessment. I know it's hard when you're tired, you just got off the trail, so do it the next day. But just make sure that you do it before you go on your next hike. Clean your clothes, clean anything that you've used. You know, clean up and do a post-assessment, a post-hike assessment. We do this with all of our projects, right? We should go through and decide what worked, what didn't work, what could we do better. Wow, this makes me want to go hiking. I think I'm going to go hiking, go for a hike. Anyway, I hope you go for a hike. But, you know, let me know what you think. Let me know what you would change or what you think about it. Here comes the cat. He has to make an appearance.